scrimmage on Saturday and a press conference the following Monday or Tuesday. And that may be where we find out, that either Julian Sayin or Lincoln Kienholz will be the starter for the season opener against Texas. And kind of tracks that's how it has kind of gone down with the Will Howard announcement last year and maybe the C.J. Stroud announcement 3 or 4 years ago. The McCord and Devin Brown announcement wasn't made until about midweek, I think, of the first game, because that one really went all the way down to the wire. And the one thing that Coach Day maintains is that the locker room knows who should be the starter based on what they've seen in practice. So it's not something where the coaches can play a favorite or have a hunch that this guy is going to be better. It's borne out over the test of time. And, I think everything kind of points at this point to being Julian Sayin. I thought that he had a very good practice last Saturday. We got to watch 60 plays of 11-on-11 action at the end of practice. And to me, he seemed to be on point. And that's really nothing negative about Lincoln Kienholz either. But I think that, both of those guys are very capable. And it'll be interesting to see how Day kind of handles it and kind of how he answers the question this coming Monday. I mean, is he ready to do it already? 3 weeks out, but more likely it'll be the following week.
Tony?
I'm just reading through one of the questions about, is this a legitimate competition? It's like, yeah, because nobody's done enough to win the job yet. So in that way, Lincoln Kienholz can absolutely win it. Julian Sayin, of course, can absolutely win it. Nobody's a returning starter. Nobody has any built-up credibility other than the fact that Julian Sayin beat out Lincoln Kienholz last year as the number 3. So why not expect this same thing to happen for him to beat him out this year? And I think that's where most people are. But that second scrimmage is going to be big. And that's, as Steve said, the team at that point will probably have a pretty good idea anyway. And when we saw him, Julian was completing passes, but it's still going to come down to, I think, as Billy Fessler said the other day, like third downs, red zone, the situational stuff that they have to execute in, and whoever executes in that, in 2 minutes, whoever executes better in that, it's probably the guy that's going to execute better in everything else as well and be the most consistent guy.
I mean, and ultimately, there's no real rush to get the decision out there. I mean, if you're more skeptical and you believe that, that this is a competition in name only, which I think is just, maybe being a little too cynical, but, there still isn't any reason to get it out there till about 2 weeks prior. At that point, the hay's in the barn. Everybody's kind of locked in for the season. Whoever loses the competition has had enough reps to where they feel like they got a good opportunity, and you just kind of go from there. I mean, there's a lot of football to be played, and I think one of the biggest downsides on roster management that I've seen, certainly through Day, probably back through Urban, is not getting young guys enough reps and then lamenting the following offseason, oh, if we only could have gotten him more reps. Well, there's a way to change that, and that's by getting him more reps. And that doesn't mean that I'm advocating a 2-quarterback system, as they say. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got none, or anything like that. I mean, and this isn't going to be something as polar as Stanley Jackson and Joe Germain, 2 vastly different styles of handling the position. These are 2 guys that can run largely the same playbook, a little different in stature, obviously, but they could run the same playbook in terms of their abilities. But, I think we'll ask on Monday if a decision's been made. And even if a decision has been made, we'll be told no. And then, maybe the following week we'll get a decision at that point, because at some point you do have to get it there, because somebody's going to be getting 80% of the ones, the first team snaps once you're doing true install and installing for Texas.
Our buddy Genetics 56 is going the conspiracy route. Do you think we actually have a quarterback battle, or was BTN told to make it appear that way?
Well, I think the thing about going to practices right now is that they're splitting the reps evenly. So, I mean, this is not something that's designed for TV. This is designed for the players to compete for the job. So when you're watching, and if I assume they're still doing, they'll do some ones versus ones and ones versus twos and twos versus ones and twos versus two, but they're also split up quite a bit. So sometimes this quarterback only has half of the first team. He's got half of the second team. The other quarterbacks, vice versa. So they're trying to be as even as possible in this. And if you're watching during that, you're thinking, well, this sure looks like a quarterback competition to me, because everything's even right now in terms of who's getting the reps and who's getting the best players and who's getting the walk-ons and who's getting the third teamers. So while all of that is even, then the quarterback battle is still on, whether TV is there or not. Now, at some point, though, like Kevin said, you're going to move to a one who's going to work more with the ones. And I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. I think that it's not something that's contrived for TV or for the Big Ten Network. I think that this was obviously just where they're at on August the 7th when they were there. Today's the 8th, obviously. And, this first game is coming at us quicker than the speed of light, it feels like. So to me, I think they're just trying to get as much work for these guys as possible. They have been doing a lot of splitting the team down the middle and putting some of the ones on one field and some of the ones on another field with a mixture of twos and threes, and playing 11-on-11 football on two fields simultaneously to get the quarterbacks and everybody. I mean, when you can have 44 people playing 11-on-11 football for 5 minutes and then swap out and have another 44 people playing 11-on-11 football for 5 minutes and just kind of keep that rotation going, you're getting those 88 people a ton of reps, and that can only help your bottom line as you get into this season. So to me, I think you got to be excited about the work that they're getting. They've had long practices on Saturday. I think they were on that field for almost 3 hours. Earlier this week, we had to wait till after 12 o'clock to do interviews. So they're out there for over 2.5 hours to 3 hours on Wednesday. They had another practice today. It was maybe not quite as long because they are having theoretically a full-on scrimmage tomorrow. So Friday is sometimes a lighter day to get ready for that scrimmage so everybody can be their best on Saturday. So, they are doing everything they can to maximize the performance of all these players who figure to play. And to me, that's kind of an exciting thing.